Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Emorja, and we're back for another episode of Black and Indie. And I wanted to sort of shake it up a little bit. I have some students that we're going to just have like some student talk, real unscripted, and just sort of go with the flow for a little bit. So, I want to introduce my guest. I have Mr. Javier. Javier, how you doing, man?
Doing all right, not too bad. How are you?
I'm cool, man. I'm cool. Miss Edith, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. All right, Maddie, how you doing, man?
Couldn't be better. Happy to be here.
Okay, all right, and then don't y'all give me these fake answers either. y'all be real cool. So, we're gonna just sort of just go for it. So 2020 and 2021. All right, first of all, what brought you to Notre Dame, Edith? Why are you here?
Deep. A variety of reasons, honestly. I think at first it was the kind of elite status that Notre Dame had. And kind of like the economic and like social capital pull that kind of provides for someone from a public high school, underserved community, like single parent household, things like that. And then also the financial resources and the package that I got. It was huge and like a real game changer, looking at my own family like situation. And then, just like they did a lot of good outreach and good branding of the school. In terms of like bringing me out for like Spring Viz, like all these different programs that the school has. So those are kind of some of my reasons.
So is Spring Viz equal to what you saw on the campus on a regular basis?
Later? Or
well, I'm asking because sometimes I hear some students say Notre Dame will show them what they'll give them the whole Spring Viz tour, everything, and it looks all hunky-dory, everything looks very nice, it's beautiful, but whenever they come to campus, specifically as it relates to, showing, minorities, did you see that what you saw on Spring Viz is also equivalent to what you saw here as a student on a regular basis?
No. So as you already kind of like alluded to, like Spring Viz is really tailored to minority students and kind of trying to show them the best that ND has to offer, like that community. So then when you come to actual campus and you see the like proportion of those students in relation to everyone else, it's a little bit of a culture shock. Because it's like a cohort of maybe 200 students or so, maybe even less. And then you're coming to a 2,000 class of other people, as well as like an entire 8,000 undergraduate population. So it's very different.
I feel it. Where are you from?
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Oh, you're right around the corner.
So I was a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Minnesota. All right. Minnesota. Got you. Wait, what city in Minnesota?
So I'm from New Brighton. It's a suburb like right outside of the Minneapolis.
Oh, that's what's up. All right, cool. Javi, what about you, man? What brought you here?
I guess I first came to ND in 2018 for the Summer Scholars Program. And I guess that summer was just very formative for me in terms of deciding what I wanted to do with life. I took a poli-sci course here, ended up really liking it, and that's what I major in now. So I'll say that ND, like that experience here at ND had like a big influence in terms of what I wanted to do. In terms of why I'm here, that experience also showcased to me it was my first experience with kind of the Notre Dame community. And I'll say that I had a lot of interesting conversations with people, and I had a lot of experiences inside and outside the classroom that I guess kind of really stood out to me and that I really enjoyed. So I definitely liked that aspect of the Notre Dame community. And I would say that that kind of played a big role. It was the Notre Dame community. Obviously, financial aid was huge, especially. It can be tough to get out of Puerto Rico without it.
I get you.
So definitely that played a huge role. I'll also agree that I think that during, I guess, at the admissions period, Notre Dame's very good in terms of reaching out to students. I got a lot of letters, a lot of which were handwritten.
Cool.
So it just made the connection between Notre Dame did a good job, I would say, at connecting me with students actually, and kind of I was able to have those resources there, kind of at my disposal to kind of learn more about what kind of Notre Dame was and what it provided to students. And those reasons are obviously, those resources are obviously also a big part of why I decided to come here, I would say.
No, definitely. I remember, you have a show. Tell us about your show, man.
So I have 2 shows actually.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, all right, my bad.
No, you're good. I started off getting involved my very first semester of freshman year in student media. First, initially for like just a week, at WSND, which is the FM radio station.
Yeah.
Quickly switched over to WVFI, which is the internet radio station, because I do a lot of podcast content, which is just more internet radio than traditional radio. So I started a show there about conversations at Notre Dame, largely sparked by these previous experiences that I had at Notre Dame. And I guess the logic was kind of like I was having all these cool conversations with people, and they were very different and unlike any like other types of conversations that I had been able to have before. And I thought that if I was like when I was younger, like during high school, I would have loved to have kind of that provided somewhere. And so I guess that's like my attempt there at VFI with my podcast there is just to showcase a lot of these conversations that just happen at Notre Dame, and they can be all sorts of conversations. So I've had professors, you've been on it, so shout out to that episode.
It was fun.
And so that's what we tried doing over there. I did a couple episodes on Puerto Rico and Puerto Rican politics. My friends at the Puerto Rican Student Association of Notre Dame reached out to me about producing a podcast for the club. And so essentially I spoke to Anthony. We were going to do it in VFI originally, but because of the student limit, which is only 3 students per studio, I guess COVID kind of helped us bring it over here, which is cool because now we have all the cameras and the interesting set and everything. So we just brought it over here, and I guess the best way to describe it is a cultural, political, and historical expose about Puerto Rico. I guess it's kind of similar to what you have here.
Exactly.
But just from like a Puerto Rican lens and Puerto Rican perspective. I think the same way that you showcase kind of instances of history and I guess perspectives that are normally not seen, especially at a campus like Notre Dame. That's kind of what we try to do as well, with our own spin and our own perspective on it.
Yeah, listen, bring out all the colors. I love it. What about you, man? So why are you here? Where are you from?
So Cleveland is home for me.
Oh.
But I live in Oklahoma City.
Wait. Why do you have a Tampa area code?
Because I was born in Tampa.
Oh man, I'm about to get on the Florida boat and he goes from Cleveland.
I move around a lot.
Okay, so you were born in Florida, but you moved to Cleveland?
I moved to Australia before that, actually. And then I moved to Cleveland, and then...
Army family?
No, just my dad's job just moves around a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he FBI?
No, not as far as I know. He'd be a good agent if he is.
Listen, exactly. All right, that's what's up, man. So what brought you to Notre Dame?
I guess at first the thing that attracted me was, like you were saying, the name, and I knew Notre Dame, or I knew about Notre Dame. Then I got the chance to visit here, and I was really moved by the way that there was a focus on spirituality and an openness to spirituality, which is something that I cared about, in addition to having a rigorous academics and obviously a lot of opportunities. And also what you guys were saying is that Notre Dame did a really good job conveying its not just its culture, but also its mission. And that mission focus was something that I think resonated with me a lot. That for all the things that are going on this campus, that there's a central purpose and central focus towards everything that's going on. So I thought that was really cool, and ended up here.
Yeah, man. So let's backtrack for a second. So between January 2020 and December 2020, what are some moments? Of course, we know what was happening then, but what are some moments that you will never forget? What was your experience like? We'll say it that way. What was your experience like from January 2020 to December 2020? I'll start with you, Edith.
Oh, wow.
Give me the raw stuff now.
Yeah. Okay, so I think my experience was very unique in that, or not even unique because Matthew also was coming back, but I was just coming back from a semester abroad.
Okay.
So.
Where'd you go?
London.
Oh, that's where I want to go once I graduate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was just coming back from a semester abroad in London, which was an amazing experience. I recommend to everyone to at least visit London sometime, or the UK sometime in their lifetime. So it was amazing, and I absolutely loved it. And I had also visited Nigeria, where
I
my
saw
parents are
that.
from.
Yeah.
Where my parents are from, over that winter break. So it was a lot of traveling, a lot of fun, just amazing memories that I'll never forget. And then coming back to school, it was kind of, I guess, jumping back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
So everything felt very, like the gears needed oil to
I
get
feel it.
turning.
I feel it.
I needed to kind of get back into just what it meant to be at ND, how it was to live on campus and like with people, and things like that. And also I was like studying for the MCAT, like planning for medical school, all of these
Yeah.
other things. So it was very hard those first 2 months, so January, February, when we were actually on campus, going into March. And then abruptly in Cancun, Mexico, while on spring break, we got the email that was like, oh, we might come back April 6th. Then it was, we're never coming back. And I said, oh. So then that was also different because not only was I coming back home, but my brother was coming back home to a 2-bedroom apartment. So it was just like, so where we living? How are we making this work? So that was an adjustment. And then also like, I knew it was going to be an expensive year applying for medical school and all of that, so I had to find a job like right when I got home. So I started working, also like attending like virtually, all of that kind of stuff, studying for the MCAT because I still wanted to like go to med school,
Of course.
things like that. So it was crazy. And then being from Minneapolis, Minnesota, in which the events of like George Floyd, those protests, the summer was incredibly difficult and kind of mentally taxing and from all angles. So that was very intense as well. But then the MCAT was done, the application was done, everything was submitted, and things started to, I guess, lighten up a bit. And then it was just kind of jumping back into ND again because we had an accelerated semester, it was shorter, it was sooner, things like that. But yeah, it was definitely weird to be on campus in a pandemic, wearing masks and social distancing and all of the rules that kind of came with it. Wouldn't take it back for the world, but it was difficult. Just because I knew ND as one way for 3 years, and then coming back to it as something different, just took some time getting used to as well.
It was a big adjustment. I mean, because whenever people think of college, they don't think about being that protected. I mean, in a sense where you can't be around people because being around people is part of the college experience. And it's like you have to, either you're online and you get exhausted from being on Zoom. Like your eyes can take so much. By the time you're finished, you're drained. And your body's like, you know what, I'm gonna take a nap. I'm gonna go to sleep. Like, like, I'm serious. Like, I'll get to my work whenever. How did you stay motivated between those months of adjustment? If motivated.
It was tough. I think for me, I wrestled with, I guess I should probably like contextualize this as like, a big goal of mine's always been to come to school, to the U.S., to attend university on the continent. And so just having to, like that college experience kind of shift back home was kind of weird to like wrestle with that idea, I guess. So at the beginning it was definitely like, I guess like kind of a blow because like, I don't know, we all kind of went through it. It was like we were missing like a big half of our semester. At the time, it was my freshman year as well. I'm just a sophomore, so it was just kind of like a big moment in terms of college.
Exactly.
And knowing that, this COVID thing has kind of like, there's no end date to it. There hasn't been. It's funny that like when it started, like you mentioned, like the university was like, we'll come back here, but then it's like, nah.
We never came back. We just got here.
Right. And this semester, over a year after, is like not even completely over. I mean, we're a little ways away, but still we have the summer, and then, who knows how things are going to be next semester. I assume a little more normal, but maybe not even 100%. So just kind of trying to stay grounded and like just, I guess I kind of, being back home, I had to like kind of like learn to be more appreciative of things.
I feel it.
And especially of being back home, because I think going to school on the continent was such a big goal of mine. It was like something that I was kind of like desperate to do for a long time. And then when I did, I felt like that was kind of being taken away. But I feel like that time, that prolonged period of time back home, I just had to kind of ground myself in the fact that there was like nothing I could do about the situation, and B, just kind of make the most out of it. And I think that spending more time with family, spending more time I don't know, just I guess Puerto Rico's an easy place to just kind of like meditate, I guess.
I love Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you could just hit up the beach
San Juan,
and just close your eyes and chill out for a bit. So I'll say environment definitely helped a lot. But also trying to use that time and not let it go to waste, I guess.
Okay.
Working a little bit on my podcast, working a little bit on, there were a lot of big topics going on, like you mentioned, during the summer.
And the election too.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Planning my schedule going forward. Like, I guess it was a good time, as any, to just kind of like reevaluate my surroundings. And that's especially true because, like I mentioned, I was a freshman, and at the time, I obviously knew that moving from Puerto Rico to a place like South Bend, it was going to be a very different cultural experience, and it was going to be a very different, just like social experience. But at the same time, you kind of know that it's going to be different, but I didn't know how it was going to be different. So I think it also allowed me time to just grapple with the differences of what life back home was and what life at ND was, and understand that to a fuller extent. To the point where I guess like coming back to Notre Dame, I had a lot of that stuff kind of processed, whereas if I would have stayed here for the rest of the semester and it would have played out normally, I would have taken longer to kind of like process that stuff.
I feel that. No, that's very true. Maddie, what about you, man? What is something that how did you adjust to, we're going to just sort of narrow it down. So from March to December, what was your experience like as a student, as a black man, as Maddie? What was it like for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because the last thing I did at Notre Dame was lead a seminar, or co-lead a seminar through the Center for Social Concerns called not Realities of Race, Act Justly.
Okay.
That was focused on the American Civil Rights Movement and racial justice. So little did I know at the time, and little did everybody on the seminar know, that it was very timely.
Yeah.
And so throughout that process, especially as a leader in it, not just a participant, it was a time where I was thinking a lot about racial justice and what that means, what that looks like in that current context at the time, but also being able to reflect upon history and how past leaders in the American Civil Rights Movement, how they were able to do what they did, and also kind of, I guess, debunking historical or things in history that or that we learn about, like in school, that really aren't as they really are. I don't know if I explained that correctly.
No, I got you. I understand.
But I just did a lot of learning in that area, and then going into the killings of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd in the coming months, in the following months, I was really able to, I guess, process things in a more constructive way, which I was really thankful for. But it was still really difficult to have to go on Twitter or go on any kind of social media and have to see people that look like me and people that look like my family being murdered.
Certainly.
But like I said, I was really thankful to have been able to start to have already been thinking about how to process those things. And that kind of went into some work with university leadership at Notre Dame. Surrounding the issues of racial justice and racism that are present on our own campus, and then that kind of spread throughout the rest of the year for me, and even up until now. And also with COVID, I was kind of in a transition, thinking about public health. For a while, I was pre-med, realized I didn't really want to go down that route. And I study environmental sciences, and so I was trying to do a lot of thinking about how to intersect these health interests that I still had, even though I didn't really want to be pre-med, and kind of the environmental sciences side of things and like racial justice and social justice as a more broad topic, and kind of landed on public health, just as the rest of the world is also landing on on the importance of public health. So so it was a time of a lot of intersections and interconnectedness for me, and I guess that would be like, if I had to make a theme for the time range that you mentioned, it would be, for me, it would be interconnectedness. Just because I was able to see how so many things I cared about overlapped into the current state of the planet, and I tried to channel that into being a leader and into trying to do what I could to make these things more known about. So
very true, very true. So let's fast forward a little bit, and I'm open this up for all three of you. Now let's talk about January 2021 to today. What's life been like for you since then? How is life for you now? Anybody can jump in.
I feel like it's funny because the same limbo state I was kind of describing earlier is still around. Like, we have a closer concept of like the future in terms of when like things are going to go back to normal, if they are ever going to be 100% back to normal. But it's still like unclear, like you know, COVID's still a thing. And while there's like I don't know, I think the experience here at ND, for example, is very different to around the world. There's like a lot of other countries that are still grappling with COVID, even though we're like kind of a lot more have it more under control right now. So this is still like a thing that's going to be going on for a minute.
It will.
Can't just like kind of put it behind us. But at the same time, there's a strong desire to kind of like try and normalize things a little bit more. But I mean, other than that, I would say that like I think everyone with experience has gotten kind of a lot more patient with the whole situation, just because we've kind of had to. We really haven't had an option.
Now, when you say we, you mean like students or?
I think
or just in general. 'Cause I've seen some students be sort of like, yo, it's still a pandemic.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think in general, I don't know. You're not wrong. There is a strong group of people that isn't exactly too patient with the whole COVID situation. But I think in comparison to when this all started, it was a lot more of a desperate thing. We've just kind of gotten used to living with it. You know, at the same time, funnily enough, there's a lot of parallels. Like, still kind of looking towards next semester, at least for myself. Like, I had class picks this morning, so looking forward to like kind of like going into this new branch of just classes and interesting stuff. You know, the summer isn't probably going to be as eventful. I was supposed to go abroad. It's not happening anymore, so that's a bummer. But you know, we carry on, and I think it's just been easier to. I think we've learned how to carry on better. I think. Yeah,
that's very true. Very true. And they both said, "Wow," because you know you mentioned that you're picking your classes for next semester. They're getting ready to graduate. So I'm gonna ask y'all, what has your experience been like as a senior? Edith, I'll go with you.
In terms of specifically the semester. I think even more so now is like you're really approaching that finish line. It's really bittersweet because I think that, again, some of the same reasons of why I chose ND are starting to kind of reap the benefits. Like the seeds that were sown are like reaping the fruit of the tree. So like sitting in answered prayers, all these kind of things that are like really coming to fruition for me, which is great. But then again, it's leaving behind a community and a kind of environment that really did foster like my intellectual kind of like tenacity in terms of like dealing with failure and all of these other things, as well as like meeting people from different parts of the world that I would not have ever met.
Notre Dame will open your eyes to a lot.
And just like their situations, their stories, things like that. And I'm such a not only a social butterfly, but I really appreciate the power of a good story, a good, you know, like overcoming adversity, underdog, all of these other things. And I think there's so much of this at ND, if you would just ask people a little bit more, not just the basic how are you, but actually like reaching out, which I think is super powerful. But yeah, I think that there is like a kind of excitement about getting back to some bits of normalcy, and kind of, I guess, just again, not losing the appreciativeness that we've kind of developed over like the pandemic. So just really wanting to enjoy my time at home, really spend time with family and friends, and just like taking advantage of the opportunities as they come or as they present themselves, even if it's not in the way that I originally wanted them to.
Yeah, oh, for real. What about you, Florida, Australia, Ohio?
World traveler.
Yeah, it's been like the three of us were actually just talking right before this, and I didn't even realize that this was the last full week of school.
I didn't either until she told me earlier. I was like, I'll just keep going until my professor says there's no class next week.
Like my mind is still blown on that. And I was just talking to my parents before this, and they were like, "Oh, you're almost done." Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm almost done," but I didn't realize I was almost done.
Almost done. It's a difference.
Yeah. So like I second like every single word that Edith said. And it really is bittersweet, leaving some of the greatest people just the best people that I've ever met.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Oh, I was talking about. No. But also I'm looking forward to the next chapter, and I get to see one closing, and I get to be with some amazing people as it closes. Yeah. But I also get to have the excitement of something new. Yeah. And I guess with COVID, it's been nice to, it's nice that we can all have our masks off right now, for one.
Well, are you allowed to ask people if they've been vaccinated? I don't know if that works. Is that a bad question to ask people?
That's a really good question. That's the best question. Yeah, I got both. So okay. I think we're all good.
So as we wrap this thing up, so tell me, I want to sort of shift this for a little bit. Yeah. Javier, what's your favorite color, favorite food?
It's a good question. Favorite color, blue, I guess. Kind of basic,
okay.
But I like it. Color of the ocean. You know? Okay. It's kind of tied to where I'm from. Just a little bit. Favorite food, being at ND has made me really appreciate fish back home because it's different, you know.
It is. Everything is different.
So fish, and obviously being from the Caribbean, I mean plantains are like huge.
Okay.
So.
Even pronounces it different. That's crazy. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I thought it was plantains, so it's plantains.
Right.
You say plantains. I say plantains.
Right? I say plantains.
You say plantains?
Yeah, I say plantains.
Oh, where y'all from?
You little Caribbean.
Yeah, I got some Jamaican. Yeah, some Haitian.
Yeah. What about you, Edith? What's your favorite color, favorite food?
Same as Javier. My favorite color is blue.
Mine too. All right.
Yeah. And I guess my favorite food is pounded yam. It's a kind of fufu kind of thing from Nigeria. Okay. Not like the TikTok little that y'all tried to do, but
right.
But it's good. It's good stuff.
All right, bet. What about you, man?
My favorite color is lavender.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
All right.
Your shoes.
Okay, favorite food.
My grandma makes this fried rice that's pretty amazing, and I haven't had it in a long time, so I'm always craving it, but I got to get home.
I feel it. Listen,
I got to go to Florida.
Man. Oh, now you want to go to Florida. Okay.
That's where,
that's
where the food is.
My favorite color is blue. So you're outnumbered right now. But my favorite food, if I could choose anything to eat at least for a week, I'll say macaroni and cheese. But not that Kraft's kind. It got to be like 4 cheeses macaroni and cheese. And if not that, then give me some honey barbecue wings. I'm good to go. All day.
For a
Flats.
week. Wow.
Yes. Well, listen, y'all, thank you so much for coming in to talk with me for a little bit. You know, it's the last week of classes. I'm glad we could wrap it up by just having some, like a candid conversation with some students. But listen, I'll tell you all this. Please make sure to keep these students in your prayers as they go on to pursue other things. What are y'all doing once you graduate? What are you going to do?
I'm going to medical school at University of Minnesota.
Okay, what about you, man?
I'm going to be at Johns Hopkins getting my master's in science and public health.
Oh, so proud of you, listen, smart folks up here. I love it. Javier will still be here. I'll graduate next year, though. So, listen. But thank y'all so much for checking in with this. You all have an awesome day. We're out.